All right, let's move on to the next discussion. At the Federal High Court in Abuja on April the 25th, granted bail to leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, who is facing charges of treasonable felony.
Trial judge Justice Binta Nyako had set some conditions for his bail. Listen to this.
The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, is partially a free man. While delivering her ruling for bail, Justice Binta Nyako held that Kanu must produce 3 sureties, including a highly respected and recognized Jewish leader. He must also produce a highly placed person of Igbo extraction, such as a senator, and a highly respected person who is resident and owns landed property in Abuja. As part of his bail conditions, she added that each surety must deposit 100 million naira each. The judge warned that he must not grant any form of interview or attend any form of rally. She added that he must make himself available for trial at all times. His co-defendants, Chidobere Onwudiwe and Benjamin Madubugo, were however denied bail.
All right, that's the background to the report and to the story of what we're talking about this morning. A lot of Nigerians have different opinion, different view as to what perspective or how to approach this issue with Nnamdi Kanu and the issue of Biafra as a whole.
Really, first thing first is the issue of the law. Where does the law stand in this particular case? Who determines when a bail condition has been breached? Is it the prosecutor or the court? Those are questions. And are the bail conditions themselves, are they too stringent? Are they really compliable? Those are another questions.
Well, there were about 12 of them, or maybe 13, about 12 bail conditions.
Okay,
and they were all met before, one way or the other, they were met before he was
No, he signed, he agreed to them. That's another question. Why would you agree to a bail condition if you knew you weren't going to follow them? That's one.
Okay.
Then you look at provisions of the law, some of those bail conditions.
Let's
I am not a lawyer this morning,
but
let's
ask those questions
I want to wear that cap.
All right, now, Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in 2015 on an 11-count charge of bordering on terrorism and treasonable felony by operatives of the State Security Service. But 6 of the charges, including that of terrorism, were struck out this year by Justice Nyako.
After meeting his bail conditions, the self-proclaimed leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, was released from Kuje prisons in Abuja.
Okay, we have joining us in the studio now a social commentator, Nelson Ekujumi. Nelson, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you this morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, exactly. Happy Eid al-Fitr. We have also the National President Igbo Youth Congress, Bright Eziocha. Bright, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, let us, Bright, let me start with you here, maybe. About 12 conditions were given to the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu before he was released on bail. But he seemed to have been violating some of the conditions, especially when it comes to the issue of not holding any rally, not being in the crowd of more than 10 people, and not granting interviews and all of that.
First of all, let me state it here that this is the Nnamdi Kanu bail is the most stringent bail condition I ever seen in my life so far.
Okay.
And as a leader of indigenous people of Biafra, it is impossible for him not to be in the midst of more than 10 people at a time. Even his local cell group, the executive alone with more than 10 members. Again, when you ask him not to grant interview, you are denying his fundamental human rights. He was arrested, incarcerated for almost 18 months. And after being released, the right to tell his own side of the story is his fundamental right that cannot be taken away from him.
Okay, so talking about the right of expression.
Yes, rights of expression, rights of, at least he has to tell his own side of the story. The people have to listen to him. People have to understand what he went through the
right.
And also why he was incarcerated in the first place.
Yes.
So it is his fundamental human rights.
I agree with you. But the point there is that in as much as there are rights, there are also limitations
there are
of the rights.
There are some laws that are regarded as unjust law. and unjust law can never be obeyed.
Okay. Now, Nelson, let's come to you on this. I know you've been following this development all the while. In a case where we talk about the rule of law, for someone like Nnamdi Kanu, who is self-acclaimed to be a leader of a people, when it comes to obeying of rules and regulations, obeying court orders, what's your take on how he has violated some of the conditions?
Thank you very much. I think it is very, very clear from the way Mr. Nnamdi Kanu has conducted himself so far that this is a man who has no respect for the rule of law. This is a man who has no respect for constituted authority, because you expect that if he was granted bail on certain conditions, and if you feel the conditions were too stringent, it is left for you to reject those conditions or, through your lawyer, apply for the variations of the conditions. That is what the law says. So for you to accept those conditions and come out into the public and start violating the conditions speaks volume about the character of such a person.
But the court has not come out to say he has violated those bail conditions.
No.
Who determines when those bail conditions are breached? Is it the prosecutor? Is it you, the public court, or the court itself?
It is the prosecutor, because you don't forget that the case has been adjourned, and one expects, because a lot of people are out there who are worried that we shouldn't allow this to continue. One expects that when the case resumes, I think July 11 or 12.
July 11 or 12.
The
that
trial.
the prosecutor will bring it up that, my lord, this suspect has violated the bail conditions you granted him. It is very, very clear.
Okay, Bright, the consequences of violating bail conditions is revocation of that bail. What do you think could happen?
I don't see any reasonable judge revoking his bails, because we must put Nigeria first. Any attempt to rearrest him again will take us back to the chaotic situation we just came out from. We knew, all of us knew very well that it's not just whether the court allowed him to express himself or the court tried to stop him from expressing himself, but he controls a very large organization. And controlling a very large organization is not an easy task. Even when you don't want to. And of course, you cannot stop his membership from visiting him.
Even the fact that he's a prince, that's what we understand. As a prince for time, yeah.
He's a prince, and the community, not just community, even walking on the streets, he can't stop him from acknowledging his presence, even in occasion. It's fundamental human right. They can't deny him that. And John Locke, I think it's John Locke from England, has said in 1636 that every unjust law is meant to be broken. Nobody. When a judge in his right sense gives such kind of bail condition, he should know that the guy will not keep to it.
Yeah, but
it's impossible.
Yeah, right. On the ground, from what Nelson said, the conditions were reeled out to him. He read them and understood and agreed to them. He signed to them before he went to. So why didn't he appeal them? Why didn't he object? When
you desire your freedom, when you desire your freedom, you can say anything. Even I myself sitting there, even Nelson the Queen is saying this. When you're under serious incarceration, when you desire your freedom so much, you can accept any condition for you to come out first. Though I expected him by now.
So what does that say about this person?
To appeal those.
What does that say about his person in terms of integrity? This is what you've agreed to.
It has nothing to do with integrity.
No, it has a lot to do with integrity. If you've signed a deal and you renege on that deal, what does it say about your integrity?
My sister, it has nothing to do with integrity. Well, what is most important here is his fundamental human rights. He has the right to express himself.
All right,
he has the right to his own personal opinion.
Nelson.
He has the right to.
Okay, right, thank you. Nelson, what's your take on this? Should the federal government revoke the bill? Do you think the federal government can afford to do that with the Igbo notice quid that is still very much with us?
I think it is not the federal government that will revoke the bill. It's the court.
The court, yes.
So I think the prosecutor should do the needful. It's unfortunate. It speaks volume about the character of this man you call Nnamdi Kanu. You recollect when Nelson Mandela was in prison, and they promised him all sorts of conditions to set him free. The man said, no, the reason why I'm here must first of all be addressed. And we also recollect, not too long ago, Chief M.K. Abiola, when he was, giving some conditions to renounce the mandate, not to be seen in the gathering of two, the man said, no, this is not the reason why I came here. Those issues must be thoroughly addressed. So for somebody to say somebody desires his freedom more than the principles that took him to that prison, it speaks volume about the character of such a person. So I expect that when the trial resumes, the prosecutor must bring it to the notice of the court, because, like we always say, the court is not a Father Christmas. It is is the prayers you seek before the court that will either be granted or declined. So we expect the prosecutor to bring all these cases that is very, very much in the public domain to the notice of the court, and I'm sure the court will do the needful. Those conditions were read out to him, he understood it, he brought people who fulfilled those conditions on his behalf, and he signed to it. So one expects somebody of character to abide by those conditions, and obey the law, as to set a good example that you are leading an organized, responsible group of men and women, rather than people who more believe in, disobeying the law.
But obviously, the IPOB doesn't seem to be a structured or organized organization, or as the case may be, but it's just like an emergency or an accidental organization that came to be. But let's get into that. That's from the comments people are making. Let's bring in Foladele here to give us a reaction on social media, what people are saying. Fola, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Busalami. Good to see you. Good morning, Bright. Good morning, Nelson. Lovely to see you. Okay, so a lot of people are talking for sure, as you can imagine. So let's find out what is being said. Adesola says Nnamdi Kanu has violated his bail conditions. He will soon be picked up again. The Queen herself says he's doing it deliberately. He doesn't like as he's not getting attention again. Uju Okpala says nonsense, unconstitutional, inhuman, unenforceable, lawless bail conditions on an innocent and peaceful man. Right? Is he innocent and peaceful? Can we agree that Nnamdi, yeah? Okay. So we'll move on.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, well, for sure. Yoda says only northern cows will be given such bail conditions. Arrest him and see the consequence. Nigeria is so fragile more than before. Hashtag Biafrexit.
Biafrex.
Yeah, that's one of the new things we're seeing on Twitter these days. Martin says bail conditions are not meant to stifle one's rights to free speech and association. Nnamdi Kanu should be left alone. Ikot says, again, Nnamdi Kanu has defaulted on some of his bail conditions. No one is talking. Well, we are talking. And someone replied to that, saying, it's a lot of you talking, but a lawless country isn't strong enough to contain Kanu. And Ikot replied to that, saying, this country could be lawless, granted. That Nnamdi Kanu can't be contained, false. And that's the last one there.
Okay, good.
So, right, you said you believe that he's innocent and peaceful.
Yes.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's okay. And why do you think so? Because a lot of people don't seem to agree with that.
Because the young man is fighting the inequality in the society, the social injustice that is meted out to his people.
But is he going about it the right way?
Well, I believe when Nelson Mandela's and their group were involved in stealing of chicken to sponsor their struggle, they were not doing the right thing, but they were doing it for a purpose. So Nnamdi Kanu cannot be seen to do the right thing at this point in time when Igbo are suffering in the present geographical.
Well, you seem to be divided. Not all Igbos agree to what you're saying, to that assertion.
See, let me be honest with you.
Yes.
You ask, the first question I expected us to answer first is, Nnamdi Kanu, the sit-at-home call was not the first time.
No.
But this was the most successful one so far.
Yeah.
That in essence shows that the Igbo are in support of what he's doing, whether you like it or not. Whether they come out boldly to say we support him or not. But because when you look at the issues that on ground, let's talk of railway projects, the recent railway project as a case study. Out of 6 geopolitical zones, only Southeast was cut out of it. Cut out, and we are told that there will concession the Southeast track after, when the money that we borrow from China will be used for the entire country except the Southeast. And we are told before Before now, that the second Niger bridge will be concession. Up to now, nobody that have not been done.
Right.
There's so many of them, and the National House of Rep. Dindi Igbo in the house, they are seeing what the Igbos are passing through. Have go through very painful situation to put up a bill, certain developmental bill, and it was thrown out just like that. It means that Nigeria is not being considered.
Okay, Bright. Let me take facts. I would like to. Let me just interrupt for a minute. I would like to get Nelson's reaction to the tweet saying, you know, these bill conditions are unconstitutional, inhumane. Only a northern cow would be given such conditions, and on a peaceful and innocent man. What's your reaction to
My
this?
thoughts on it are very, very clear, that those conditions were given by a court of law. And under the law, once a bail conditions, you feel those bail conditions cannot be met by you, through your lawyer, you seek a variation of those bail conditions. So it is not right, it is, you know, not proper.
So there are legal ways to go about it.
Yes, for you to,
you must also put for you to accept.
Okay, but hold on, Nelson, on the face value.
All right, gentlemen,
yes.
the point there is, Fola, we have
Fola,
to let you go first. Let you go first.
On the face value, Nelson, in terms of some of those bail conditions, one is that you don't stay in a place where you have more than 10 people. He's a Christian or whatever religion he belongs. He's not a Christian. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
His religion is Judaism.
Whatever religion he belongs to, some gathering there might be more than 10 people. Is that humane, really, to say, okay, fine, for that period you don't worship God with your congregation?
No, what you see, those bail conditions are meant for a purpose, and that purpose is that the court has found you, you know.
I get that explanation.
To be suspected,
I'm asking you this now on the face value, in your own opinion. Is that human? Really?
It's human, yes, it's human, because the generality of the human interest must be taken into consideration, not only your own interest as a person. If the court feels that you're gathering with more than 10 people who endanger communal or even national security, the court has a right to do that, because without the rule of law, without orderliness in society, even the court will not be able to sit. And that is what the court is trying to prevent. Anarchy. That, look, Mr. Man, for now, the court didn't give a judgment. It was a bail conditions to be met for a certain period of time until the case is, you know, ironed out. So long as the case is still in court, you owe it a responsibility as a responsible citizen to obey the law. So for you to say the fundamental right, nobody has said he cannot go home or he cannot talk to his father or his mother. That's why the court said he should not be seen in the gathering.
But part of fundamental right is freedom of expression and association.
Yes.
And that is being curtailed by this bail
condition. Yes, because when you are in court, when you are a suspect, you have limited freedom. You must understand that. Not if you don't have any case hanging on your neck. That's when you are totally free. But once you are... All
these are still allegations. It's not been found guilty.
Yes, the court has not found you guilty. But the court has... The procedure in court is that even when you have not been found guilty, the mere fact that you have those allegations hanging on your neck means you are a suspect. So because you are a suspect, you must be placed under watch to see. Even you are all aware that there are some persons in prison. After spending some time in prison, they will say their conduct necessitates them being released, that they are now reformed. That's the essence of the judiciary. And that is what the court is saying, that look, your freedom for now must be kept under watch, and let us see whether the allegations the state has, you know, brought against you will hold water or not.
All right, gentlemen, I wish we had time to discuss this and look at other areas, but time will not permit us to do that now. So we'll look for another time again, if time permits us, for us to talk about this. Nelson Ekujumi, thank you for coming on the program. And Bright Iziocha, thank you very much for coming as well.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Right.